now I want to get to Donald Trump trying to influence the dealings with prosecutors within Ukraine, which we've talked about a little bit, but this helps us suss it out a little more. The president also praised Ukraine's prosecutor general specifically, and suggested that Mr. Zelensky might want to keep him in his position. And then he includes a note. Starting in March of 2019, this prosecutor general made a series of public allegations, many of which he later walked back, about the Biden family's activities in Ukraine. So Trump is thinking, well, this prosecutor general might be on my side. He might help dig up some of this dirt on the Biden family. So let me just suggest that he should keep this prosecutor general in place.
Look, guys, there's actually no factual dispute that Donald Trump asked Ukraine to dig up political dirt on his political opponent. It's in the call. It's in the call that's already been released. So does any Republican even deny that? You can't deny it. It's already in the released part of the calls. So does that mean Republicans think, oh yeah, it's totally okay if my Democratic opponent goes and asks for help from any foreign country to make up corruption charges on me? That's totally fine, totally fine. Well, you can't say that, it's illegal and it'd be mental. Then the Democratic opponents can be like, all right, China, what do you got on corruption on Congressman X, Senator Y, whether it's real or unreal, who cares? Come help my campaign. Iran, come help my campaign. Cuba, come help my campaign.
So
this is preposterous.
I have a question, and it really does matter because depending on how this plays out, obviously more people will be implicated in this investigation. So as you've mentioned a million times, Donald Trump doesn't really seem to know the law, care about the law. He keeps doing things without really thinking about the ramifications or consequences. Now, one can argue he hasn't had to face any consequences thus far, so maybe he does know what the law is, and he's decided to brazenly break it anyway. However, look, the fact that there were White House officials who wanted to hide the evidence of this phone call, right? So are there people protecting Trump? Like Trump has these conversations, he's thinking like, yeah, I'm having a normal conversation, there's no big deal. Others in the administration hear the call, they know that it's problematic, they know that he's breaking a law here, and they decide to move forward with hiding a transcript of it on his behalf.
Well, he doesn't technically know how to move a call into a secret database. So there's no question that there are people inside the White House who are doing it for him and hence helping him. And guys, this is really important. I love that Anna brought it up. Trump has fired every competent person in his administration, whatever little of them existed in the first place. And he's replaced them with lackeys and yes men. Because to him, like a mob boss, loyalty is more important than competence. And it actually makes sense if you're a mob boss, if anyone is disloyal to you, you're gonna go to prison for the rest of your life. So for that particular job, loyalty is more important than competence. But what that does is it creates a number of people, after you weeded through some people, as Trump has done, that are generally incompetent, but willing to break the law and most importantly, bow their heads. So yes, sir, of course, sir, asking for favors from a foreign government to attack your political opponent. Of course, sir, yes, sir, because anyone who says no is fired. Right? And anyone who doesn't play ball and is willing to commit crimes is fired. And part of the reason Trump's done this his whole life, and people who worked at the Trump organization explained how he did it in the business world, is that so eventually he also has a fall guy. So he says, I didn't move it into the secret database, this schmuck did, right? And remember, he recently just said about Giuliani, oh, well, I guess you'd have to ask him that. I don't know anything about that. Oh, you see, that's why he's surrounded by guys who are willing to break the law, not challenge him on things that are obvious, and gets himself into this kind of situation. This isn't a normally family-run business, whether you're doing that, in a nefarious way or not. This is the White House. You're gonna get caught, brother. And I mean, I'm surprised it took this long, and it's only because your opponents are Democrats.
Right, exactly. So the whistleblower also outlines the way in which he or she was concerned with the way the Ukrainian government responded following the call. So I want to give you a little portion of that. The Ukrainian side was the first to publicly acknowledge the phone call. On the evening of the 25th of July, a readout was posted on the website of the Ukrainian president and contained the following line. and then he mentions that the translation was from original Russian language readout. Okay, so Donald Trump expressed his conviction that the new Ukrainian government will be able to quickly improve Ukraine's image and complete the investigation of corruption cases that have held back cooperation between Ukraine and the United States. So, they have this call and they put out this statement saying, we have this wonderful call. Donald Trump believes that we're gonna really improve the image of Ukraine. A day after the call, US Special Representative for Ukraine negotiations, Kurt Volker, visited Kiev and met with President Zelensky and a variety of Ukrainian political figures. Ambassador Volker was accompanied in his meetings by US Ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland. Based on multiple readouts of these meetings recounted to me by various US officials, Ambassadors Volker and Sondland reportedly provided advice to the Ukrainian leadership about how to navigate the demands that the president had made of Mr. Zelensky. So already you have people getting involved, trying to enforce or at least move into put into motion what Donald Trump had discussed with Zelensky.
And Ukrainian officials saying it was clear to us that investigating Biden was a condition of talking to Donald Trump. And again, they know that Trump has held up the money, and the Ukrainians are asking, where's the money Congress, the United States Congress appropriated to us? And they're made aware that the condition for that kind of conversation is you got to investigate Biden. Right. So I want to mention one more important thing in regards to who knew what and when. Dan Coates was the director of national intelligence. He resigned 3 days after the call. Okay, so now you can say, oh, it might have been a coincidence. If you say so, okay, but that looks really bad. And by the way, he also advises number 2, who he was very close to also resign, and she did. And so he's like, get out, the ship is capsizing, we gotta go. Because if you stay, then you have to defend the illegal actions. Well, Dan Coates is a massive right winger, but he ain't stupid. So he's like, I don't know that he knew about the whistleblower. At that point, the whistleblower, I know, had not put in the official complaint yet, but he doesn't have to know about the whistleblower. He knows about the intelligence. He's the director of national intelligence.
Right.
So he knows about the call. I don't know if he knew that they had moved the call to a secret database to protect it. I don't know if he knew that they have moved other calls into the secret database to protect those. But I do know that he is like, oh, there was a bad call made where you asked for political interference in elections from a foreign country. Gotta go. So Coates leaves. Coates grabs his coats, he's gone. I wanna give you one more quote from the Wall Street Journal. In an appendix to the complaint, the whistleblower wrote that the White House officials said this was, quote, not the first time the Trump White House had put a presidential transcript, quote, into this code word level system solely for the purpose of protecting politically sensitive rather than national security sensitive information. So it is imperative that the investigators find out how many calls were moved into that secret database and what were in those calls. Because every call that got moved in there, the White House knew there was something wrong with it. There was something politically sensitive and potentially illegal in those calls. Otherwise, as the whistleblower is explaining, there's no reason to move unclassified calls into the most top secret database the government has, unless you want to hide them. Hide them even from other cabinet officials and from anyone else ever seeing them. We must find those calls and we must find out what's in them, because you didn't move things into a secret database because they weren't problematic. Tick, 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 tick.
Drums.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.